Hey everyone, so the older brother, Tom's tied up today, so I had to tag in the younger brother for today's Rockstar Minutes. And what I wanted to talk to you about was real estate prices around the Golden Horseshoe, really in a lot of different areas, but we'll use Toronto as a basis. Here's a chart that we put together for Toronto real estate prices going back to 1969. And what we did from the Toronto Real Estate Board, we took their average sale price every year and we mapped it against the average income in Canada. And you can see here, here's the income growth in Canada, and here's the average sale price of Toronto property. And you can see this area here, this big white area, this is what we refer to as the destruction of the middle class. Because if you're just working for income, you can't keep up with where asset prices are going. And I want to show you something. If you look at what's been causing this, and one of the big reasons this is happening is all the government money that's being pumped into the system, stimulus as they call it. But this stimulus is being forced into financial assets. It's being driven into financial assets because it's looking for a return. And this is what's causing this growth in all these different financial assets and above average growth. And so this stimulus is almost acting as like a universal basic income, but not for the people that it's supposed to help. It's universal basic income for asset owners. And if you look here, you can see this is like a normal inflationary trend that the government's trying to do. So you can see this upward trend, right? It levels off here. Look at 2008. If we go up from 2008, that's when things really start to spike up. And 2008 was when there was more coordinated global money printing from central banks around the world than at any other time in history. And this is what happened. This is what happened. And this is what we're seeing today. So when people ask us, hey, how are Toronto real estate prices up 13% year over year? And I want to show you that. Here's last year's Toronto real estate prices. Here's these ones. It's an average number, right? But in December, it was 838,000 of last year, of 2019. And of last year, of 2020, it was 932,000, almost $100,000 jump. So how is this happening? And why is this happening? And it's because of all this stimulus that's being pumped into the economy that's driving these real estate prices. It's government policy that's impacting us. So here's the challenge of what we face. Is this going to be a straight line? No, it's not going to be a straight line. Things will kind of go up and down and sideways and all over the place. However, long-term trends, because of government policy, is what's driving this type of thing. So when people are looking, people are going to look at us and say, oh, here's another real estate guy saying Toronto real estate prices are going to go up. Like, how many of those are around? That's not the purpose here. We want to understand what's driving the market. Supply and demand is out of whack as well. But it's this financial policies from the government that's driving the market. And if we look at what their intention is, the Liberals announced it at the end of last year, they're planning to spend a lot more money in stimulus this year. If you look at Joe Biden coming in the Democratic Party in the US, what are their plans? Their plans are for trillions of dollars of stimulus. This thing is only speeding up. This is where it gets scary for us. So what do we look at as people that are trying to protect their purchasing power, protect their savings? We look at assets. Real estate for us has always been a very beneficial one because it generates income as well. But that's why we look at things like the gold and silver markets. We look at things like what's happening in the Bitcoin market. Some people are looking at different stocks, like the big 5 stocks on the US stock exchanges. Those things skyrocketed too last year. You can look at Tesla was up 800% or something. So all this money is being driven into financial assets, and that's what's making the difference. That's what's driving these real estate prices. So don't just look at the headlines when you're trying to understand what's going on with real estate. We got to peel back the curtain a little bit and see what's going on behind the scenes and what are the underlying causes of these. And when those trends change, that's something that we have to be aware of as investors. And that's why we still want to invest for cash flow. We want to understand the cash flow numbers. But this is kind of what's driving this stimulus thing the government keeps presenting to us as stimulus is driving this growth and creating is causing the middle class to be further and further wiped out across Canada. And this is something that we're very passionate about and why we get amped up talking about it. So these are for this year's. When we extend this graph now for 2020, that's going to go even further up, and this gap is going to get further and further. So take it for what it's will. Use this, take it for what it's worth, and use this information in whatever investing decisions you're deciding to make. We think it's incredibly valuable, and it's why we followed it for a number of years, and it's helped us do what we're trying to do as well. And until next time, your life, your terms.